Hello, good afternoon. We are live. Thank you for being with us today. We are now streaming live on most of our social platforms. This Q&A is going live on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. I hope you are all fine today. I see many people joining. So let's go. As you read in the description of the event, this experiment today is a trial to see if you are interested in more live events from us, and will be dedicated to explain you what we did in the recent years, what we are planning for 2022, and to discuss about some trends in the food regulatory sector. Along the webinar, I will share some slides, and I will share also the chat where you can see the comments from other participants, and where you can post the comments through the social media where you are following the webinar. So if you want to intervene, please put some comments there to keep the discussion alive. So speaking of us, foodrelated.com, I'll share you some data about who we are, what we did this year. Despite COVID, we saw a nice increase in business in the last 2 years. Food Related is a law firm and food law blog that is active from July 2013, and today counts more than 175 active clients in several countries in EU and outside EU. We deal mainly with European and Italian food law, but also with FDA requirements directly, at least in part, and with the regulatory requirements for food in more than 92 countries. Today we cover more than 92 countries, and I don't know how many languages, to be honest. But our strength is in our community, is in you. We have more than 30,000 active connections with all kind of people in the food business, and a strong presence on all the social media that you see listed there. So if you look for Food Related, you can find free content on each social platform, might be LinkedIn, Twitter, TikTok, it doesn't matter. You can find something. At the moment, we are, let's say, investing more time on LinkedIn, and we would like to grow more on YouTube as well, because I guess video is the future, but we are present everywhere. We have much more readers. To give you some numbers about our blogs, is read in more than 200 countries and counts 40,000, 50,000 unique visitors per year. And then, of course, those visitors come back regularly to each article. So you can imagine the numbers. We develop a lot of new labels and products every year, and we never had an incident in nearly 10 years of activity. So this is quite an insurance about the quality that we privilege above everything else. Also, when we choose our partners for other countries, we don't necessarily, we are not necessarily picky on prices, but we are picky on quality. We don't want you to compromise when you decide to choose our services, our labeling validation services, or whatever. Okay, we do labels, we do crisis management, we do everything is related to food law. So if you need anything, feel free to reach out on any platform. The team grew a lot in the last couple of years. So now I'm not alone, like in the first years of activity. There are Alberta and Chiara, two food lawyers with me, with the specific expertise. So each one of us can cover all the basics, but develop in years a specific expertise. It might be on an environmental labeling, on food supplements, on US. It doesn't matter, but each of us has specific skills that can be leveraged. We have two experts in food science and technology, so with scientific background, Simone and Valerio, and Daniela that joined us this year and is dealing with administration and communication. We have also legal trainee, Camilla Clerici, that is not in the slide, but joined us in October. So we are keep growing. And we have more than 30 external partners that help us to cover all these different legislation and jurisdictions. So that's our team that is working extremely extremely well together. So I'm very excited for the next year because we work very well. We enjoy our work. That's the most important part. Then, speaking of external partners, I can mention some of them. You can see their logo there. We have I7 Servizi that do all on the field activity when it comes to inspection certification in Italy. We have Arcadia, based in Portugal, with our friend Francesco Montanari, that is dealing with public clients like the European Commission, DG Agri, DG Sante, and is managing mainly public funded project by those entities, and Focus Food Consulting, strategically managed by Bert Popping, that is a big friend. You already saw many videos with him on my channel. That is our experts in analytical and technical in the analytical and technical field. So that's where we are. For 2022, my intention is to, as already said, grow our presence on YouTube, do more videos, do more live events if you like them, and do more webinars. We did a couple of them last years. They went very well, about the new mandatory environmental labeling in Italy, something that we will speak in a bit. And now we are proposing a food labeling masterclass on 10th of February. So if you'd like to join, please check LinkedIn. We plan also to publish more articles on foodrelateds.com, like an article per week, and we start a newsletter on LinkedIn that is going really well. So that's the plan. For the rest, we will try to optimize our internal process and be more efficient and provide even better services to you in the future. Now, I see that someone is joining, so I'll start, let's say, the Q&A session, showing you also the chat, so everybody can see if new comments or suggestions will arrive. And I'll start with some things that I hope that in 2022 will be a trend. When you do predictions, most of the time you are wrong. So I will do just 4 predictions for today, are more than enough to be to miss the target and be wrong also this year. In 2021, I did a live that was quite on the spot, but I'm not sure I will be lucky also in 2022. So first trend that I see in labeling, at least in Europe, is regarding the environmental labeling. That is a wide term to encompass both the identification of the packaging material on the label and other kind of indication, like return schemes for glass if present and so on. But what is really exploding at the moment is not this kind of return schemes, deposit schemes, is the environmental labeling intended as identification of the packaging, because Italy will start to implement this kind of labeling from July 2022. The original deadline was 21st December 2021, but has been delayed. And this project of legislation in Italy sparked a discussion across all Europe, and many countries are thinking to follow our steps. The legislation basically requires that all the packaged goods that are sold in Italy bring the identification code under the decision 129/97 of the European Commission of the packaging and an indication about the disposal, so that the consumers are allowed to separate the different components of a pack and dispose of them correctly. And this should lead, we hope, to an increasing recycling of the packaging material. Italy is the first country trialing this kind of obligation, but you know that we have already some mandatory indication in other countries like France, where there is the 3-man logo, and now we have new also sorting indication from this year in place, or Spain, where we have the green dot. But I will foresee a multiplication of those schemes and trials and attempts of the countries to address the issue in the future. So I'm sure we will see a growing complexity there and more legislative requirements to be met. So it's something that shall be monitored. Then, of course, in the environmental, let's say, big big container, we have also the green claims. So the claims related to the fact that the pack is recyclable, is green, is sustainable, and so on. And you know better than me that there is a phenomenon ongoing that is called greenwashing, that is the, the practice of certain brands to place claim on the pack that are not exactly truthful or can mislead consumers about the real impact on the environment that a packaging or a product or a company is having, or are not exactly correct in terms of how much packaging is recyclable or sustainable. So greenwashing for sure will be something to monitor as well, because many claims out there might not be completely justified. So it's something that that shall be monitored as well. Speaking of labeling, let's put this in the first prediction. I do not expect from the European Union anything conclusive about the front of pack labeling. That is another huge topic at the moment. You know that there is this fight ongoing between the Nutri-Score, the French proposal, the Italian Nutri-Inform battery, other schemes that are around from a while, like the traffic light coming from UK, or the keyhole in the Nordics, and other logo and schemes. The Commission at the moment is doing a re-evaluation of the Regulation 1169 on food labeling, is discussing also some policy options about this front of pack labeling. In most cases also coupled with the creation of nutrient profiles, so a sort of classification of all kinds of foods that can help in better calibrate those schemes. But the project is, I'm not sure, will be finished this year as is planned, or I don't see as probable a proposal of legislation within 2022. So front of pack will be still a huge thing, but I don't think we will have any new legislation in place, as someone is hoping. Second prediction, plant-based. We spoke about plant-based last year. I see that plant-based maybe is losing a bit of steam. Of course, there is a lot of market to be conquered yet. The growth of the plant-based sector is not finished. I'm sure of that. But my perception, I'm not sure the data can support this, is that it's slowing a bit down. The market is not saturated, but there are a lot of products, and they are basically always the same. You know, you have the plant-based burger, you have the plant-based sausage. They might be from different kind of vegetal protein, but well, there they are. I would say that more innovation would be needed to conquer new consumers, to give more variety to this sector. And probably we will see some legislation coming. There are many countries that are discussing from months, years now, about prohibiting the use of terms referring to milk or meat, to plant-based products, not just Europe, where some positions has been taken by the Court of Justice, especially about milk and milk terms that cannot be coupled with plant-based alternative products, since they are regulated. But also in US, in Canada, in India, in China, the discussion is everywhere, in Australia. And we have a party that is pushing to ban those the use of meaty or milky names on plant-based vegetable products, and another party that is saying that they are not misleading, they can stay there. In the middle, we have some new proposal of legislation, and I think about Canada in particular, where you can find a useful public consultation online if you check, and India and China, where there were proposals to ban certain terms. So plant-based is the second. Still interesting, but I don't think so interesting like in 2021. In the meantime, we have a comment, but it's mainly a question about a label, and they're asking if it would be compliant to the Italian legislation. Well, I have no idea, Maria, of your packaging, but yes, from what I see, it can be considered compliant. You might write just raccolta differenziata 1, time, not 2 times, but I would say that this might work because you identify your packaging, let's say an external pack or an internal pack, you identify the material, you put with the code, you put the family like plastic, and then you invite the consumers to differentiate. So of course, this should be compliant. But you know that we Italians, when it comes to legislation, are complicated. We delayed, as mentioned before, these new obligations to July. And in the meantime, the ministry could issue new guidance. So we hope that the ministry don't do anything stupid, because we already have guidance given by the CONAI, the Italian Consortium for Recycling, that are there for more than 1 year. So if they change the cards on the table now, it would be a disaster for the industry, because all the companies that are already in compliance with the actual rules and with the actual interpretation of the rules will have big problems. So let's move then to the third prediction. Last mile delivery, dark kitchens, is something that is exploding, not growing, as a business on the business side. Okay, I received many queries this year about those kind of new business. For sure, they are interesting because some, if you check the press, some articles are heavily against those business model because they say they are not sustainable. In some cases, the price of the food you receive is too cheap to be true, and so on. I think that there might be something reasonable there, because some companies really have tight margins and problems of profitability. They exploded, they grew, raising capitals like high-tech companies, but still have to operate like food companies. So there is not unlimited space to grow, and the same margin that you have when you produce a software or an iPhone, something that can be replicated easily and with a better margin. So I don't know how long this will be sustainable. On the other side, I see some convenience in those new business model, because the distribution of food is often very inefficient, especially in places where it is difficult to deliver. We speak of food deserts in countries like US, but in many other countries in the world. So areas that are not well served. With those business models, if we get more capillarity, it would be possible to try to fill those gaps. Delivery of the grocery from a delivery center that is near to our home in 15 minutes might seem something unbelievable, but it's something that today is possible in certain cities, and is possible because you don't receive your grocery or your pizza if you order from a restaurant from very far, but you receive your goods from a distribution center or a dark kitchen that is strategically placed to serve just a certain quarter, a certain part of the city, and allows them to deliver in such a short time. So when you get this short time of delivery, you get also a shortened, let's say, mileage to cover when you deliver. So to a certain extent, a better organization of the last mile delivery could be more efficient in terms of energy consumptions. It could be beneficial for consumers, especially for now in the COVID pandemic or post-pandemic or whatever era. So I see also some advantages there. For sure, there will be a boom. And my bold prediction is that in 1 year or two, maybe 3, I don't know, but at a certain point, we will see also some of those business crash, because some of them are really just too much focus on the internet part of the order and delivery, and not on the fact that they are delivering food. So you can see today amazing solutions also to deliver the food in a perfectly safe way, keeping the temperatures, keeping the hygiene perfect. Well, some of those businesses are not exactly following the right path, in my opinion. So when the regulators or the controlling authorities will really crack down on them, someone will have troubles. Last prediction, upcycling. Upcycling of food is something that is, again, coming to my plate very, very often. What I mean with upcycling, I mean try to produce edible food or from if not from waste, from discarded part of the food supply chain. I saw a couple of very interesting projects to produce, well, now maybe I cannot give you all the details, but to produce additives or ingredients from basically something that normally shall be considered waste or a byproduct. So in any case, it would not be consumed, but will be thrown away. And I think this is something that will stay because the attention to the environment is growing more and more today. And for sure, a complete circularity of our supply chain is something that is chased by many, many new kind of business and companies today. So upcycling is a very interesting area that will be absolutely challenging for us lawyers and consultants, because when it comes to transform basically something that should be wasted to food, you can imagine that things has to be done properly, and in certain cases, probably you will have also to get some trust from the competent authorities if you want to, close the cycle and put back into the supply chain something that is not considered usually food. So this is very, very interesting for me and would be challenging. That said, I haven't received any more question. I invite you eventually, since I see people online, to do some question for us. Otherwise, I'll close the session and see you next time. We'll plan for sure more short live, also maybe commenting some interesting news or interesting books or interesting happening in the food sector. So thank you for being with us today and see you soon. Bye.